What is happening, YouTube? Cowboy here, and welcome back to another Heroes of the Storm strategy showcase. And today, we are taking a look at one of the most iconic villains from the Diablo franchise, the Butcher. So for those of you that are old school Blizzard fans, you may remember him from Diablo 1. For those of you that are new to the franchise, you of course know him as the boss of Act 1. But either way, in Heroes of the Storm, he is an extremely brutal assassin. He basically hits as hard as Thrall, but as fast as Illidan, and on top of that, he's close to impossible to kill in a one-on-one fight. So, with that being said, let's jump into our abilities. First up, we have Hamstring. Deal damage in an area and slows enemies. This does a relatively low amount of damage, but it does a frontline AoE slow. Great for making sure enemies aren't going to get away from you once you decide you want to kill them. And with the right talents, we can get it low enough to where there's really no chance they're going to be able to get enough of a gap to ever escape you. Moving on from there, we have Butcher's Brand, and this is what makes the Butcher basically impossible to kill in a one-on-one situation. Deal 30 damage to an enemy and cause your basic attacks against them to heal you for 75% of the damage down for 5 seconds, healing double versus heroes. So just to put this in perspective, around level 20, you're hitting for roughly 600 damage with the right talents and, you know, all of your fresh meat gathered up. You put this on an enemy hero, right? One-on-one fight. Every single swing you do, not only are you hitting them for 600, you're healing for 900. How absurd is that? It's balls to the wall crazy. Moving on to the next ability, Ruthless Onslaught. Charge an enemy, becoming unstoppable and gaining movement speed. If you reach the target, they are stunned for 1 second and take 60 damage. A fantastic initiation, a great gap closer, and overall probably one of the better abilities in the game now to help secure a kill on targets that are trying to flee. It's also a great move to initiate, but keep in mind that you are an assassin and not a warrior. So if you're going to start the fight off with this, use it sparingly so you don't get blown up. Moving on to our trait, Fresh Meat. Gather strength by killing enemies and collecting their meat. Basically, every time you kill a hero, you'll get a stack of 3 meats that will drop. Every time you kill a creep, 1 stack of meat will drop. You can pick these up, and you will hold onto them until you die, and each stack of meat increases your right-click damage by 1%. So at max, you have an extra 25% damage, and you can talent this even further, putting it up to 35. On to our 2 heroic choices, one of them great for damage, one of them great for CC. First up, Lamb to the Slaughter. Throw a hitching post that attaches the nearest enemy hero after a 1-second delay, steals 75 damage, and causes the enemy to be chained to the post for 4 seconds. Now, Lamb to the Slaughter in its singular form at level 10 isn't all that good, but you can talent this up at level 20 to be able to throw down a hitching post and capture all the heroes that are in that AoE, effectively limiting their movement for a solid 4 seconds. Now, this is a pretty good heroic ability if you don't have CC. That being said, I do prefer something like Mosh Pit that's going to stun them, because at the end of the day, the only thing Lamb to the Slaughter is going to do is make sure they can't get away, which if they're winning the fight, you know, it's going to be more of just make sure they don't kill us and keep them back where they're at. Onto our other choice, Furnace Blast. After a 3-second delay, fire explodes around you, dealing 300 damage to enemies, can be cast while using Ruthless Onslaught. Now this is a brutal AoE explosion, and my main choice for a heroic ability with the Butcher. And basically what you do is you find your target who you want to go after, pop Furnace Blast, hit Ruthless Onslaught, boom, you crash into the target, Ruthless Onslaught explodes, and then you finish smashing them with your crazy powerful right clicks. So, we're going to queue on up. I'm going to go through my talents real quick, as always, and then we'll go more into them in depth in the match. So, Invigoration at 1. At 4, Unrelenting Pursuit. Ooh. At 7, Abattoir. At 10, Furnace Blast. At 13, Crave Flesh. At 16, Blood Frenzy. And then lastly, at 20, Nexus Blades. Now, that being said, Lamb to the Slaughter is a decent option if you have relatively no CC on your team. And with that in mind, if you are going to take Lamb to the Slaughter, I would highly, highly suggest you take the Slaughterhouse upgrade. As for the Fires of Hell upgrade, honestly, while that second blast can be nice for a little bit of extra damage, Nexus Blades just pumps up your damage that much more and ensures that anything you hit has 0 chance of escape. So it might take a little bit of time to find the match with the Butcher just coming out. The queues have been pretty brutal. I've been playing him probably 2 or 3 games in quick match and a lot in Hero League so far, and I have very, very few losses. I think my win rate with him right now is around 85%, so rather confident in this build. It's definitely starts to shine around level 16 when we get our upgrade that's going to up our attack speed, and in addition at that point the Butcher can basically solo anything on the map. You know, like the maps that do have bosses, you can go up and solo those bosses with no difficulty. You just tear through them completely on your own. pretty disgusting to see an assassin do that, because the only other assassins I know of that can do that are Thrall and Illidan if he's played very, very well. Double support, and we have the Battlefield of Eternity, the new map, so you guys will get to check that out as well. It's a wombo combo of new Diablo content. Definitely a really, really interesting map. Basically, there's two immortals that'll spawn in the middle, and you have to attack the immortal while trying to defend your own. And when one of the other immortals falls, or the enemy's immortal, your immortal will then get a shield equivalent to the amount of health he had left, and then go to the lane with the strongest defenses and utterly devastate them. And just to put it in perspective, the immortal is like a Dragon Knight on speed. It is just brutal. It tears through structures so fast. On top of that, it's dropping out an AoE and stuns just to make sure enemy heroes can't get on it very effectively. And we are on the demon side as well. Very fitting for the butcher.
How lucky.
Treasure Goblin. Treasure Goblin goes nowhere. So, to go into our first talent here, a couple choices: Invigorate, or Invigoration block, Chop Meat, and Victuals. Now, heal for 3% of your maximum health when you collect fresh meat. It's not going to be necessary simply because of the fact that we have Butcher's Brand, which gives us an absurd amount of healing to begin with. As for Chop Meat, increase the damage of Hamstring by 50% to non-heroic targets, and minion kills by Hamstring drop 3 stacks of meat. A decent talent if you're just starting out with the Butcher and you're having a lot of trouble actually gathering up your stacks of meat, but I don't really find it to be that necessary, simply because of the fact that I don't need 3 stacks of meat off creeps. You know, I'm going to be ganking, I'm going to just be killing creeps in lane, and it won't be that hard to gather that up. As for block, that is a decent option if you're against certain heroes, like a Nova per se, but at the end of the day, Invigoration is going to reduce the cooldown of Hamstring down to 3 seconds if we hit an enemy hero, which is very, very powerful simply because of the fact that it's a 4-second cooldown by default, and having that extra second will help us to secure our chase. And then on top of that, it reduces the mana cost by 50%, which is the only real problem that the Butcher has, is managing his mana appropriately. So they have a Nova, Tyrande, Tychus, Gazlo, and the Butcher. Not the strongest targets. I can probably kill this Gaz. Oh, no! Oh, I got too greedy. He managed to get away. I also decided to not buy the ultimate skin you see here. Just not really a fan of it. I'm going to swing bot here, help right wing out. Get a quick kill, get some stacks. Ooh, a good laser from our Gaz. And the Immortals are coming up now too. So I'll definitely want to get some stacks of fresh blood. No, they're too far. Can't get a kill like that. Let's come into lane, get a little bit of blood while we can, and then look for a gank on the Nova as the Immortals start. Nice, very nice. We're gonna get over here and get some damage into this guy. Caught by the stuns there, a bit unfortunate. But we have a kill on Gaz happening. Boom! More stacks of the blood. So here we're going to be going for Unrelenting Pursuit, and this makes it so as long as we get the impact, it reduces the cooldown by 40%, which is quite significant. It's going to take it from 20 seconds all the way down to 12, which is a huge reduction on that, and it's going to ensure that we can charge targets more frequently. It will help us out immensely. So as you can see right now, we just put our Butcher's Brand on the Immortal, and you can see just how fast we're able to heal up. A lot of healing coming in via that. We're going to look for the opportunity to get a kill if Nova pops back out. Might be able to go for Tychus, but I have to wait for my team. And that's the biggest thing in learning to play the Butcher. I mean, early on, you know, I did that dive to try and finish off the Gaz. A bit of a risky move, locking them up, ensuring Lily can escape. No, you don't. No, you don't, Tychus. Boom! Boom! Gaz goes down as well. Boom! And the stun is off cooldown. Can we get the Butcher too? Oh, we're not going to be able to. He will escape. But things are not looking good for their immortal right now. We do have our 25 stacks of blood. And their Butcher is going to die. Beautiful. We're going to try and pull out if we can. I don't think I'll make it in time. Oh, we got him. I was going to try and grab the Mercs. Ooh, just barely missed them. So we're going to go back and get mana. And then we'll be meeting right over here to push. Just taking a quick look at the stats, you can see not very high on siege damage, doing alright on hero damage. And as we level up, you will start to see the Butcher's damage going higher and higher. His single target potential getting extremely brutal, especially as we move towards the late game and we get our attack speed buff. Immortal doing some work here. We got an opportunity. Oh, and there goes the Tychus. So at here, we're going to go for Abattoir. This is going to increase our stacks of fresh meat up to 35, and in addition to that, it's going to make sure that we only lose half of our stacks in the event that we die. A very, very powerful talent. It's going to help us out greatly to make sure that, one, we can maintain our stacks easier. You know, that way, if we do happen to die, we don't lose all of them. And not only that, but having the extra stacks coming in just gives us another 10% increase to our damage, as well as some very beautiful synergy later at level 16 with Blood Frenzy, giving us a 35% attack speed increase. So an interesting thing on the map, these shamans right here, this guy that you see me attacking, if your opponents do get the bruiser camps, make sure you kill the shaman. The shaman will continually resurrect the dogs once these creeps are in lane. Very important to keep that in mind. And we might have a potential butcher kill here. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. There's no escape. There it is. And this game's looking good so far. We got a strong lead. Let's get the siege guys. And once we get level 10, that's when things get really brutal. Now on a map like this, we already have plenty of CC. You know, we have the polymorph coming in from Brightwing. On top of that, we got the stuns from Muradin, and Gaz could go grab a bomb. So because of that, I am indeed going to be picking up Furnace Blast. In general, Furnace Blast is my preferred ultimate. It's just a huge amount of AoE damage. When you first pick it up at level 10, it is 600 damage, and if I remember correctly, at level 20, it's around 1,000 damage, which is pretty significant, needless to say. I want to kill this guy off before the immortal spawn. He's down. We're gonna hit the fountain real fast. Look for a pick. Level 10, Furnace Blast. So if this Tychus decides to come out and play, he's going to be in for some really, really big trouble. Waiting to see. It looks like he's just going to focus the mercs. Not a smart idea on this map. The immortals are extremely valuable. So we pop Furnace Blast. We're charging in. Boom! And there it is. Tychus utterly decimated. Near instantaneous death. And you can see how that talent, having Unrelenting Pursuit, we are already ready to charge in again. Very, very low cooldown on that charge, which is fantastic because it's your initiation. You know, it's the main way that you're going to get in and deal damage. So having that lower cooldown helps a lot. Now, I didn't really talk about other talents here. Some other choices we do have. Of course, Hamstring does bonus damage to targets that are movement impaired. a decent choice, but overall I feel it is going to ultimately be outshadowed. Flail Axe, increase hamstring length, not really necessary. We're not going to have trouble catching our targets. You can see right there, popping that Butcher's Brand, getting massive healing off of that Nova, taking her out with ease. As for Envenom, not a fan of Envenom here simply because we kill through burst damage, very heavy hits, and Venom, 500 damage over 10 seconds, just not really seeing the worth there for the Butcher. As I mentioned, cheap shot, that's only going to really be effective right after our stun from Ruthless Onslaught or working in conjunction with teammates, because the slow of hamstring doesn't last long enough for us to basically, we're not going to continually just benefit over and over again from using hamstring. It won't work like that for us. Oh, I was just about to get the Furnace Blast off. And then Flail Axe, 40% length is quite powerful, but ultimately it's just not going to be needed. So you can see we have 18 right now of our fresh blood. All we gotta do is hit this guy once. There we go. We're gonna clean up right here. Gazelle has no chance of escape. Nova probably not gonna get away either. I'm gonna be able to catch her right here with the hamstring. And that's the triple kill. We are already getting our blood stacks back. Did miss a couple stacks there that I could have picked up, but I was more interested in securing more kills. So another big immortal push happening right now. I'm gonna beat through this gate real fast just to make sure we have the escape route secured. Boom. And murder on the Tychus. So for here we're going to go for Crave Flesh. Now, a couple of different things I want to point out. Burning Rage, ultimately, while Burning Rage is great on tanks, it's not going to really supplement our damage enough to really justify in a similar manner. Savage Charge, 15% damage of their current health. It's basically a blood for blood if you were to attack the target while they're at full health. And the main reason I don't like that talent is because it's only of their current health. So if a target's on the verge of death already, it's not going to benefit you that much. Whereas Crave Flesh, right after our stun from Ruthless Onslaught, we can put up our Butcher's Brand, and this will give us immense chase potential, ensuring that anything that we're after, it won't matter. It won't be able to escape, because we're going to have 30% movement speed for 5 seconds on the target. Yeah, we're going to have to retreat here. Much safer to retreat. Might be able to actually fight this. I don't know. Largely depends. Bought just enough time to make sure Brightwing got out of there alive. Meridan's here now. I can charge in. Got the speed boost. Oh no. Some shitty pathing there. Ooh, and then Nova just barely escaping. It's alright, Gazelle will pay for her sins. We're gonna snatch up some bruiser camps real fast here. Head down here, get all these camps real fast right before the immortal fight starts, which did just start, but we should still be alright. We got a nice level advantage. The camps will help push, and then we can go and wipe them out of mid. So I got Brand up. There's that chase speed. There's the Furnace Blast. Got the mark up. Ooh, you better back on up. You better back on up. You came out. Why'd you come out? Very nice zoning so far. Then we're going to Butcher's Brand, heal a ton off the Immortal right now. Sprint away, this is looking bad. Can't save my team here. I can get these mercs to push. So we got a 50% on the Immortal. Even if they take the Immortal here, we should still be okay. Looks like someone had started this one. So, Blood Frenzy. Massive attack speed jump coming in now. So as for our other talents here, Crippling Slam, you can see even with that 45% increase in the duration and making it so the slow doesn't fade out, it's still not enough to put, what is it at? Cheap Shot into the point where it's like infinite. Oh, they're gonna get it. Might as well get as much damage as we can into theirs, make the shield non-existent. As for our other choices, Enraged is a decent choice if you're up against a lot of CC, but ultimately you're looking at this only activating when you're below 50% health for 40% attack speed plus the CC reduction, whereas Blood Frenzy, along with the Abattoir talent, is going to give you a static 35% attack speed increase, which I'd rather have 35% all the time versus 40% when I'm on the verge of death. And then, as I mentioned already, Crippling Slam, ultimately just not worth it here. So as for our level 20 talent, because this match may be over before we reach level 20, as I said, Fires of Hell, not a bad choice, but ultimately I think it's overshadowed by Nexus Blades, especially because we have such incredible right-click potential in conjunction with Butcher's Brand. That hamstring, just cleaning up targets. Not a big fan of chasing behind the tower. Let's take this tower out first, and then we can chase. How about that? Look at that, just diving their core like it's nothing. We are just slaughtering right now. So you can see 34,000 hero damage. The hero killing potential is very obvious at this point. As for the choices, Bolt of the Storm, not needed, especially because Ruthless Onslaught is only a 12-second cooldown with the talent. You know, we don't need that extra mobility. And ultimately, the escape isn't that important to me, especially because of the fact that I retain half my blood even in the event of death. Like I said, if you do end up taking Lamb to the Slaughterhouse is a complete necessity. You know, going from CCing one target to potentially CCing the whole entire team is huge. escape. Blow down this gate. You fucked up. Oh, the tower. I still think that was worth it. So much fucking slaughter. 37 kills. It's insane. Like, the damage we're doing. And we're not even 20 yet. So like I said, at 20, I'm a big fan of Nexus Plate. So to go more into this, we already deal absurdly high damage. And because of how fresh meat works, you know, we have that extra 35%. So increasing all of that damage by another 20%, and then on top of that, putting a slow on our basic attack, that slow in conjunction with hamstring basically gives us 100% uptime on our targets. It makes it extremely difficult to actually escape the Butcher once he initiates combat with you. And honestly, if they can survive this immortal, I will be genuinely surprised. I'm pretty sure they're going to get wiped right here. Well, not wiped, but I don't think they have enough to actually kill the immortal. I'm pretty sure the match is just over. Immortal just tearing through the core. I probably won't even reach it in time. They're going to need a lot of damage. No, the Immortal's got this. Each swing hit for 10%. Yeah, this one's over. So, GG. So, in the end, even after being dead for a minute there, because of the fact that I wanted to dive the enemy team and ensure that every single one of them was dead, still managed to come out on top on hero damage, 37-3, not too bad. But that's the Butcher, ladies and gentlemen. So like I said, an extremely powerful assassin, probably one of the most brutal in the meta of the game. And this seems to be a trend. Every time Blizzard releases a new hero, they tend to just utterly slaughter everything. So once again, just to go over the talents real fast here, we went for Invigoration to give us more uptime overall on our targets, Unrelenting Pursuit to reduce the cooldown on our initiation, Abator to make sure that we maintain some fresh meat when we die, and then on top of that, increase the total stacks up to 35. Furnace Blast because it is a sexy AoE explosion that's great in combination with our charge. Crave Flesh just to give us that extra 30% movement speed to make sure we can stay on top of any target that we mark and get our healing. Blood Frenzy because getting 35% attack speed, that's kind of obvious as hard as we're hitting. And then of course Nexus Blades, just because if Hamstring and then Crave Flesh wasn't enough, let's just buff our damage 20% more and add a stun, or excuse me, a slow into the mix. But either way guys, that is the Butcher. There's going to be plenty more Heroes of the Storm to come. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the new battleground as well. Really fun battleground in my opinion. But up next, we are going to be taking on Leoric, I believe. And then after him, my understanding is that the Monk will be released after that. So definitely make sure to stay tuned. I will, of course, be covering all new heroes basically as soon as they're released. So with that being said, thanks for coming by, guys. Hope you enjoyed my Butcher build. And we'll see you next time with more Heroes of the Storm.